next conversation would have us being lights on the activities within in the entire world, actually. The issue of the International Women's Day and the celebration theme, which is, of course, accelerating action. How much of that has been stuck to here in Akwa Ibom, indeed the Niger Delta region, and by extension Nigeria? To what extent are women being included in activities of government and, of course, in everything that has to do with the growth of women in the society as globally held? Well, Women in Power and Accelerating Growth. We'll be speaking with an interesting figure in Nigeria and indeed in Akwa Ibom, a member representing Oran State constituency, who herself is the chairman committee on appropriation and public accounts at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, talking about Honorable Dr. Itorobong Etim. Doctor, you're welcome to Niger Delta Today. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you.
I would like to take the first shot, understanding that he knows I'm very particular when it comes to women, especially in politics, and the narrative as to stemming from the cultural norms as women should be found in the kitchen and the other room, as well as how men have seen women in different political positions. But you're there. And let me start by understanding, how does it feel for you to be among men in the House of Assembly? Are there some disparities or differential treatment given to you in the House?
Oh, thank you. It's just normal, nothing different. We are all lawmakers. We're representing different state constituencies, and we have been called to work. So it's work, it's business, it's representation, is lawmaking and oversight. So
nothing different.
Nothing different.
Okay, then there are also the aspect as a woman, when you have a career you're pushing forward to, you're a doctor, and that's an incredible feat. And so some people have the notion that a lady who's out on her career path may not pay so much attention to her family. Is that the case with you?
Oh, no, definitely not. In as much as we are celebrating women and we are accelerating action, we're calling, advocating for bringing more women to the table. Agreed, women have a lot of clocks on their ways. And that's what you're referring to. Yeah. Having to deal with a lot, having to deal with the home, having to deal with the family, having to deal with side attractions, while pursuing your career, while taking care of the home and getting to the top. Yes, any woman that is set on a mission, that has a focus, and that is going some way, knows that in this climb, she has to carry all that along. And all you need to do is to share your time to be able to handle all of this. Taking care of the home front, going to school, of course, developing yourself is key. Because if you're not developed, opportunity will come and you're not ready for that opportunity. So any woman in her climb that knows she's got to get to the top, she has to know that she has to prioritize the things she needs to do and share the time to be able to meet all these needs.
All right, Doctor, if Jenny would let me chip in now, well, I'd like to bring to your attention the UN Sustainable Development Goals report in 2023. It said 1 in 5 young women are married before their 18th birthday. This is a statistics that is global, and that nearly half of married women lack decision-making power over their sexual and reproductive health rights. It said at the current rate, it would take 300 years to end child marriage, 286 years to close gaps in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws, 140 years to achieve equal representation and leadership in the workplace. And we know about the 35% affirmative action currently in Nigeria. We don't know to what extent that has been implemented, but do you see efforts that can be made, steps that can be taken in ensuring that the affirmative action is realized, not in the long term? If we're waiting for over 100 years for this equality thing to set in as much as possible, that will be like waiting for over a century. So are there steps, specific steps that can be taken in in the light of accelerating action as the theme of this year's Women's Day is, are there steps that can be taken? And do you think that respective parliaments in the country can do more in ensuring that women are more included in activities and leadership roles?
Okay, thank you so much. Just like you said, that's the essence of the theme for this year, accelerate action. Push it, work towards it, get it happen. Yes, those figures, having conducted some survey, they came up with those figures. The basis of first and foremost getting there is poverty. Poverty in homes, poverty in our communities. That's why you see a man sell out his daughter to get money to be able to meet the needs of the family. And some religious, I don't know what I would call it, some religious doctrines also that tend to still push women to the background. These are the things that we need to advocate for people's understanding that these things are not working well for us. And I used to say, and I keep saying, if you've had a wife that is giving you peace at home, you come up with very tough decisions from work, she's able to help you get the right decisions to get the jobs done in your office, you come back and everything is in place, your children are well groomed and all of that. She deserves a table in the policymaking room. Am I correct? Because she's doing well. And so when we begin to see women as not just our wives to be kept in the other room and in the kitchen, we'll be able to bring their wealth of experience, their knowledge, and their capacity to the boardroom. So we need to keep advocating, as we're doing, that women are good. They are good at home. And so the action should be accelerated to bring them to the table. We don't need to wait to see how it turns and turns from the figures to get to where we want to do. We need to work. We need to talk to the he for she. We need to talk to the men who listen to us. Now, let me also tell you, if a situation that concerns women's system is brought to a table and we have no woman on that table, how will they make judgment that will support women? Something that has to do with women's cycle, childbearing, and issues like that has to do with women, you know, and it's brought to a table where there is no woman to share an experience, you know, to speak for the women. How will they come up with solutions to that matter? They will still have to go back to get answers to these questions from women. So why to speak when these issues are raised for women?
Okay, and talking about bringing those issues to the table, you are in the House. Have you seen laws, or are there laws or bills currently undergoing processes, or have there been implemented laws that help protect the rights of women, be it in reproductive health or in other aspects, to give women a voice that protects them from harmful practices in the society?
There's VAP law, violence against persons law. There's VAP law, and there's even child rights law concerning all these marriages, and because children have rights and they need to know it. The problem is that we are not publicizing these laws. The problem to an extent is that some people in our local communities do not know about these laws, and since they don't know about it, those laws cannot be implemented. And let me also tell you something about laws. Laws can only be tested in courts. Do you understand what I mean? If there's no issue to take someone to court, you know, we won't look at the papers to say, what does the law say about this matter? So we are now not just looking at the laws, because, like I said, they are going to be tested in courts. We're looking at what can we do to stop these practices before it gets to the court.
Level.
So do people even see the need? Because we know that there are real issues in our societies where we get to see rifts and domestic violence in the society that they don't really make it to the courts. They don't really make it to the courts because, I mean, these people find a way to solve the issues, and then maybe for the women now, they tend to sulk it in and pretend as if these real issues are not happening.
Because
I understand where you're coming from. Because recently I had a case like that. This man this elderly man in a village raped a whether 10-year-old or so. The mother wanted to take the case to the police. It is the men in the community that came to the woman and said, please don't disgrace this man. He's an honorable man. By the time I got wind of this issue, the man had already disappeared from the village because I wanted to take him up myself. You know, so these issues happen, and that it is the men, the women in the community that pressurize the victim or the parent of the victim to drop the cases. It's happening.
Okay, there's an aspect I'm also interested in. The phrase we use, women supporting women. Do we really have that in our society? Do we have that thriving? Because we see cases where some women take a step forward to seek help, and they receive so many backlashes. In fact, the people who try to assist are men. But from women, there are some backlashes. Let's say, for instance, a victim steps forward to mention that this is what has happened to her. The women begin by bringing up the blame games. How did you dress? Where did you go to? Such things like that.
You know, we live in terrible times that sometimes if no one advises you, you have to advise yourself. We live in terrible situations whereby there are things you don't need to make noise about because you don't know, you know that you may not have support. But you have to, you know, develop some thick skin to be able to pull through it. People have their own reasons. See someone coming from that angle to say that maybe someone that has suffered that kind of treatment and has been able to maybe cool it off or maybe, you know, discharge it somehow. You understand? And is feeling that some other person shouldn't talk about it. We also have to advocate for speaking up. Let people understand that there's no harm in speaking up. There's no harm in saying the truth. If the cases will be judged rightly, because that's another thing. I can speak up and people decide not to support what I'm saying and decide to support whoever I'm saying is the abuser. So these are also issues. And then women supporting women, sometimes I don't agree to that, especially in political scenarios. Let me give you a typical scenario that I shared the other time I had an opportunity to talk about this. Yes, I'm a woman contesting, and then I have an opponent that is a man, and the wife is also a mobilizer. She's a woman, and the women supporting her are supporting a woman to support her husband. Understand? She may be a mobilizer, she may be on ground, gaining all the support for herself because she wants to be the first lady. And I may be contesting, and then I don't even have the kind of support and followership she has. Who will get the support? Tell me, who will get?
She will take it to her husband.
Finish. I mean, and people will say women are not supporting women. She's also a woman, and people are supporting her because she's working towards becoming a first lady.
So
no, I didn't see it from that aspect, though. But on the aspect of appropriation, and we get to see year in, year out different appropriations for different sectors. And one of the aspects I think we pay attention to, because it has to do with an area that affects mortality, maternal rates in the state. And that has been allocation for family planning. And for a period of time, there has been complaints about reduction in commodities and consumables in this aspect. We understand that for any woman, reproduction is an important aspect, and these oftentimes take lives. And so appropriations, do you think we are doing enough in that aspect to ensure the safety of mothers?
Well, one thing I know His Excellency is particular about is health, because he's doing a lot in the area of health. Today I came not with the budget appropriations. I didn't come with the figures, so I won't be able to speak to the papers I did not come with. But I know on the whole that His Excellency, the governor, is doing so well in the educational sector. He has also set up the educational insurance, health insurance scheme that whoever has a need, or in fact is even for the generality of the citizens, to register and get insured, so that whatever issues come up, the insurance will cover it.
All right, Dr. Ejem. Well, let's talk education now, especially for the girl child. we know that in family settings, there are preferences that you see play out. I mean, we can't deny the fact that we are in Africa, and there's still those people that hold on to the notion that sometimes the boy child should be treated differently, or you see scenarios playing out where boy child will be given preferential treatment, and sometimes you see the boy child having to go to school while the female child is asked to stay
those
back.
things still happen.
They still happen. They still happen. Even though it has been played down as much as possible and more awareness is being created currently, but we still have these issues rearing up their ugly heads here and there. And to an extent, this has a way of affecting the psychology of the girl child. They grow up feeling timid. They grow up not having that self-awareness, that confidence in themselves that they can achieve more. Would you say that we have done a lot in that angle, in changing that narrative, or is there more work that needs to be done?
You know, in contrary to what you're saying, some days ago, I was sharing something about the girl child with someone and said, you guys are doing too much for the girl child. When will you do something for the boys? Personally, I organize the Girl Child Academy, where I work with, every time I have to come them about 150 girls for a week to work on these issues, to inspire them, to groom them and all of that. So working, like I said that day, I said working or grooming the girl child cannot be overemphasized. And a man or a family who decides to prioritize the boy child over the girl child is doing his or her family more harm than good. Because recently we see that the bulk of the homekeeping, the bulk of tending aged parents
falls on the girl child.
Falls on the girl child. So if you're busy grooming your son that is going to be taken to someone else's family, because when the man marries, of course the wife has hijacked.
That's the narrative that is even peddled for the women. They say it's the women that leave eventually.
It's the wife hijacks, and your parents are not seeing you again. You only visit when your wife allows.
So the hijack happens both ways. Both male and female can be hijacked.
And okay, if what you're saying is really what happens to a family where they have only male children? Of course they will do every duty. And what happens to a family that has only female children? When they grow up to become lawyers, doctors, engineers, of course they will do that. So it actually has to do with individual families and how they want their future to look like. So this is also an opportunity to advocate and to tell every family listening to us that you have a responsibility. As much as you're training your boy child, also train your girl child. Because you don't even know. I remember when I was campaigning, there was something I said, God can use anybody to raise a family. He doesn't need to take permission from anybody. He can use the father to bless the family. He can use even the lastborn, the female lastborn, or even the male firstborn to raise the family. So train, groom, all of them equally. You don't even know who will be the best.
Well, Dr. Etim, let's talk a little bit on your constituents. I know you represent Oran State constituency at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. We'd like you to share a little bit of your activities so far in the 8th Assembly in Akwa Ibom State.
That was not the topic you gave me.
I know, just a snippet. I mean,
that's not you're reading something else.
Well, I just thought maybe you'd want to.
That's not what you said you're going to talk about. In as much as I'm not running away from what I'm doing, but
well,
I think we
maybe
should
in relationship
stick to the areas we wanted to talk about.
Maybe in relationship to
women, empowerment of women.
Maybe in relationship to what's happening to women in your constituency.
Okay. By the grace of God, as member representing Oran State constituency, I have been very intentional about grooming people. As I got into office, I registered 44 young people to learn ICT and 120 to learn fashion designing. As we speak, I had empowered the ones on ICT and getting the empowerment materials for the ones on fashion designing. And severally, I've had occasion where I bring up young people to empower them with some seed capitals and all of that. In terms of representation in the House, I have at several occasions spoken to and about the needs of my people. So I'm doing my work in the house. And
I wonder why you would have wanted to shy away from such an important and vital point to just
that's not why we came. We came on the heels of the International Women's Day. And to advocate for women inclusion, to advocate for women empowerment, and to
for the women inclusion, I don't know, but I think I would make this very personal. Because very personal. Are there areas which you advise women not to venture into? Now, I'm talking of, based on the backdrop that some areas, specifically some hardcore areas, maybe tech or maybe politics, where some people would advise, women, this is a very dangerous zone for women. Are there such areas you'd advise?
There are no dangerous zones for women. The Bible says, he which made them male and female. He didn't say one is supposed to be engineer, the other one has to remain a nurse. The other one has to remain a primary school teacher. No. And you find out that even these big gurus, it is their wives at home that advises them on what to do, what next step to take in their businesses. That's why you see Igbo men, they're sitting side by side their wives in their business centers, because they know the power and the capacity of their wives. So there are no areas. But tell me where we don't have women. Currently, who is heading the World Trade Center? World Trade Organization, sorry. Is a woman. So what are we talking about? We have female presidents. It is time for us to liberate on the wisdom, on the capacities of these women. And how long will we drum this into people's head?
Indeed. Indeed, Dr. Item. Well, indeed, women are found in almost all walks of life, but then the percentage is still low compared to...
That's why I say, let them train, improve, empower themselves. Let them train. Opportunity, what do they say? Opportunity meets preparation. Let them prepare for opportunities. Let them go to school. Of course, they are doing it. Remember then, when we were growing up, when we were young, some people will come up and say, if I had someone to send me to school, I would have gone to school. I tell young people, you don't need someone to send you to school. You can learn a trade. You can know how to make hair, make money from making hair, and go to school. Prepare for these opportunities, so that when the opportunity comes, we won't say there is no woman. Let's just pick whoever we see. So we pick the best brains to occupy those positions, so from there they can grow.
Indeed.
Honorable Dr. Itorobong Etim, member representing Oran State Constituency and Chairman, Committee on Appropriation Public Accounts, Akwa Ibom State House.
Appropriation and Finance, not public
Appropriation and Finance. Thank you very much for coming on Niger Delta Updates. It was good to have this chat with you.
Indeed, to have to talk about women. And you seem very passionate about women inclusion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we hope to see more of you on the program.
Indeed.
Okay. Thank you.